said that vandals were bad people. Some of them are there to make things change, and those we love the most are here to make us smile. Just wait until you see what happened when Pac-Man invaded the streets. If this is your first time visiting this channel, don't forget to subscribe, and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today we're showing you 15 random acts of genius vandalism. Aliens. You might think that crossing the street is safe when there are no cars around, but you shouldn't only look to the right and to the left to see if there are any cars. You should also look up at the sky to make sure that a spaceship is not there to get you. This kind of alien invasion doesn't happen every day, but these extraterrestrials seem to always be hanging around the same places. That's why someone is here to warn us against alien abduction. If you ever cross the street in this city, you might be transported into another universe. You might think that extraterrestrials don't exist, but there are actually 5 traits that could get you abducted by aliens, according to Graham C.L. Davies. It's sleep paralysis, a tendency to recall false memories, high levels of absorption, New Age beliefs, and a familiarity with the cultural narrative of alien abduction. So you are right to think that we don't have any proof that aliens exist, but those who think that they've seen one are not crazy. Minions. When there is a fire, you can count on firefighters to save you. They will quickly come to your place and use a fire hydrant to allow water to flow into their hoses. Fire hydrants are usually red to make sure that they will be able to quickly find them. But with so many red things around us, it can be hard for the fire hydrant to stand out. This is why someone decided to make sure that everyone would see it by transforming it into a minion. Not only will it save us from a fire, but it will also save us from having a bad day. How can anyone not smile when they see this? And if you want to laugh even more, you have to watch Despicable Me. Remember the fire alarm scene in the second movie? These yellow creatures quickly tried to save the situation in the worst way possible by smashing the wall, screaming, and trying to use a hose. This was probably one of the most memorable scenes of the movie. E.T. We all remember the popular 1982 movie, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and one funny vandal made sure that all the men would never forget it. However, women might not have the chance to see this, and you know why? That's because he recreated one of the final scenes in the men's bathroom. Any of us would think that it was just a normal light, but someone actually saw the moon. This is why they decided to put a sticker of our favorite extraterrestrial on the light. Going to the bathroom has never been so entertaining. But did you know that everything in the famous scene was real, except Elliot and E.T.? Visual effects supervisor Dennis Murrin and his team were asked to create special effects for the movie, but surprisingly, for the final scene, he barely used any. It took him weeks to find the right spot to film the scene, and used maps and charts to coordinate it. Then, he just had to add the 2 characters, and that's how he got that beautiful result that is still iconic nowadays. Jellyfish. We're so used to seeing these signs in bathrooms that we didn't even take time to take a closer look at it. But when you stare at them for too long while washing your hands, you notice that they don't make sense at all. Take a look at this one, for example. You might think that it's just about drying your hands, but one animal lover saw a jellyfish that we should applaud instead. Sure, we would applaud this weird creature if we could, but none of them came out of this hand dryer. And this is probably a good thing because jellyfish probably won't dry your hands. That's because they're 85% to 98% water. They even squirt water from their mouths to be propelled forward. But what is more impressive is that with all this water, they don't even have enough place for a brain, a heart, or lungs. Now that's one unique creature that we should applaud. Pothole Flowers. We all hate potholes, and if you're a Canadian, you hate them even more because they are just everywhere. You can't drive in a straight line in Canada because there are always many holes on the road that you need to avoid, and when you think that you finally found a way to avoid them, you find out that the street is blocked because they're trying to repair those potholes once again. This is why one nice person decided to make them more enjoyable by putting flowers in them, and we couldn't be happier when driving to work. But do you know why there are so many potholes in Canada? It's because of winter. When snow or rain seeps into the soil below the road, it freezes, causing the ground to expand and pushing the pavement up. Then, when the temperature rises, the ground returns to normal, but it creates a gap that a car will soon drive over, and that's how potholes are created. Cars. There are still some things that we can enjoy during winter in Canada. No one likes when their car is covered with snow, and they have to wake up earlier in the morning to make sure that they'll be able to go to work on time. But someone made sure that they would be starting their day in the best way. They drove funny faces on the snow in their cars, and they even shared a picture to make sure that everyone would be able to see this. This is what we call Canadian vandalism. Even the vandals are too polite to do anything that people won't like. However, these people will have to clear the snow off their car, even if it looks good. And you know why? It's because you can receive a ticket or even be accused of criminal negligence if you drive with too much snow on your car. So unfortunately, these funny faces will have to go away, but we'll have a picture to remember it forever. Stairway to Heaven. When you wake up early in the morning to go to school, the last thing you want to do is take the stairs to go to the 5th floor. You're just never ready to be exhausted just before spending a long day in class. This is why someone decided to make things more interesting for everyone on his way to class as they walked by the 2nd floor. They simply wrote one word on the wall, and we bet that it made everyone laugh that day. This is how Stairway 2 was transformed into the famous song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. But did you know that the rock band was actually accused of copying the song? The group's Spirit thought that it was too similar to their song Taurus and filed a lawsuit against them. Fortunately, they were able to prove that the two songs were not really similar, and Led Zeppelin won. Speed limit. We are all in a love-hate relationship with speed limits. We all wish that we could go just a little faster when we're going to be late, but at the same time, we understand that it is here to protect us. Usually these signs are pretty simple. After all, when you're driving 80 miles an hour, you want to make sure that you can easily see the speed limit in a second. But someone decided to make things more complicated by adding one of the most terrible things in the world to this sign: mathematics. Just imagine everyone stopping by the side of the street to try to solve this problem. It could be really dangerous. And you know what is more dangerous? Driving just a little faster. If we increase traffic speeds of just 3 miles per hour, there would be 25 more fatal accidents every year and more than 100 serious injuries. If we can avoid it by driving just a little slower, we should do it. No unibrows. Skateboards are cool. Not only do they give us the chance to travel faster, but we can also impress our friends with impressive tricks. Unfortunately, it seems like many haters are jealous of some skateboarders' talent because they decided to ban them. People knew that they couldn't break the rules, so they decided to change them instead. And this is how they transformed the sign into something that no one likes: unibrows. If you have one on your face, you won't have the chance to go anywhere near this place until you wax it. Tom Winter will be happy to hear about this because he loves his skateboard and can't go anywhere without it. The professor, who was then 69 years old, was seen skateboarding on the University of Nebraska campus. He was so popular that he even became a meme. Now that's one good reason to go to college. We want to meet this funny man. Do not touch. When someone tells us not to do something, it just makes us want to do it even more. For example, when we see a sign that reads fresh paint, we want to touch the wall just to make sure that it is true. Sometimes, the problem is also that these signs are there for nothing, and we don't mind breaking the rules that shouldn't be there in the first place, but this time, we totally understand why we shouldn't touch something. No matter how bad you might be, it is always important to respect nature, and this little vandal did it in the best way. Unfortunately, if we can't touch this dandelion, it won't be able to make our wishes come true. But do you know where this strange belief comes from? In the 1800s, young girls believed that if they blew on it and all the seeds flew away, their loved one would return their feelings. If any seeds remained, it probably wouldn't work with them. This makes us want to touch this dandelion anyway to see what will happen. Snakes. Most people are terrified of snakes, and we would all wish to see a sign to warn us that there is one nearby. But maybe people have been trying to tell you this for decades, and you just didn't understand what they meant. When you look at this sign, you think that someone just slipped on a wet floor, but there is a person who saw something else. This is why they decided to warn everyone by telling them that 1 in every 3 snakes would make you fall. Actually, we'd rather think that this is just water on the floor because it's less terrifying. But snakes aren't always mean after all. You know that their venom could have terrible consequences, but scientists also found out that it could be used in medicine to save lives. So even though 1 in 3 snakes can make you fall, the 2 others could help you go back on your feet right after. The superheroes. We often see broken things on the street, and we just keep wondering how someone even managed to do that. These things are meant to stay there for a long time, and it would take someone really strong to make them move. This is why a funny vandal decided to recreate the scene that could explain what happened, and we love their theory. According to them, there was a fight between Ant-Man and Yellowjacket right in the middle of the street. That could explain a lot of weird things that are happening there at night, but you might not like this superhero anymore once you know who he truly was at the beginning. The film was meant to focus on the original Ant-Man, Pym, who developed several personalities and was violent with people he loved. Rejecting this idea and turning Pym into a supporting character was probably one of the best things that they ever did. We want to see a hero that we can all love. Rainforest. Sometimes it is sad to walk around the city. Everything around you is gray and sad, including the buildings, the sky, and the ground. Even when there are trees, they look like they don't even want to be here. This is why any plant that is still beautiful and green easily stands out. This is how someone found a tiny rainforest on the pavement where they were walking. It probably made them smile, and this is why they wanted to make sure that everyone would have a good day too. They wrote on the ground that it was a tiny rainforest and turned these little plants into something magic. But did you know that there is one good reason why rainforests are actually much more amazing than you would think? They make up 6% of the Earth's land surface, but produce 40% of its oxygen. We wouldn't be there without them, so we need to give rainforests the attention they deserve. Cookie Monster. If there is one thing that our dog would like to become, it's a trash can. You're probably wondering why, but it's because they notice that it's where all the food that we don't eat goes. And our furry friends are jealous when they see that we don't give them the last bite of our steak and put it in the trash can instead. Cookie Monster is one funny character who decided to make this dream come true. To make sure that we wouldn't waste any cookies, he transformed himself into a trash can. But he won't be happy to hear that he's just a recycle bin, so he'll just be eating paper instead. Did you know that Cookie Monster is also a Carly Rae Jepsen Jepsen fan? He actually sang a song about cookies inspired by the hit single, called Share It Maybe. The female singer sounds way better, but we think that Cookie Monster is really funnier. Pac-Man. When we were kids, we could turn anything into a game. And when we crossed the street, we made sure that we stepped on every line. If we didn't, we believed that something terrible would happen. However, it will be difficult to do it this time because Pac-Man is eating them. You better hurry up if you want to cross the street in safety. We don't know what inspired this person, but they decided to paint over the lines and paint the famous yellow character instead. But did you know that the game was originally made to attract female players with food? It was supposed to be more violent, but creators thought it would be better to make Pac-Man eat yellow dots because women like to have dessert after eating dinner. We understand why this game was so popular. Not only women, but everyone loves food. Did you ever see any act of genius vandalism? Don't be shy to tell us what it was in the comments section down below. We love to know what you think. And that's it for 15 random acts of genius vandalism. For more stories like this, make sure to watch 10 Weird Things All Kids Do. Thanks for watching.